What's going on, guys? Kai here. Today's video is going to be a class tier list for September 2024 PvE. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so if you just want the tier list, it's right here. It's also on the Discord. I gave them all numbers based on the 4 major PvE game modes. That's going to be Path of Firesword, Elemental Realm, Guild Boss, and Colosseum. These are the 4 main PvE game modes that we use. You can argue that Colosseum shouldn't be on the list, but it ends up being a big target when it does come around. So starting from the top here in S rank, they are going to have different numbers. I gave them all separate numbers. So starting with Armorer, which is at the very top, I gave it a 9 in Path of Firesword, a 9 in Elemental Realm, a 9 in Guild Boss, and an 8 in Colosseum. The reason why it loses a point in Colosseum is they generally require you to move around a bit more. Path of Firesword can do that depending on the floor boss you're on, but in general, if you're big enough, you can just ignore what's going on. Colosseum has thunder strikes and stuff like that, hard to just ignore. Now, let me see here. We have Dragon Fighter 32, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 32, 31, and Marksman 30. So 32, 31, and 30 are the other 3 S tiers. Starting with Dragonfire, I gave it an 8 across the board. It's very, very good across everything. It's slightly worse than Mech in flat damage output, but their maneuverability is a bit better. So that's why it stays in that 8 kind of across the board. There's an issue with some users right now where the knock-up skill is not working on auto, and that will be the one button you have to click on manual. The idea with Dragon Fighter, go through your rotation, change classes, change back, go through your rotation. Then we have Kakaguri, which I gave 8s everywhere besides a 7 on Elemental Realm. And that's primarily because it takes a while to ramp up, and while its max damage output will be comparable, it's actually a little bit higher than Dragon Fighter, but missing out on that first rotation or 2 of damage output does end up hurting you at the very end. Then we have Marksman, 7 Path of Fire, 8 Elemental Realm, 8 Guild Boss, 7 Colosseum. When it's able to just sit there and spam, it does the damage. Especially if you're doing it on manual, where you're using an ability, using your basic passive over and over and over, you're going to be doing really, really well. The reason why it loses a point in Path of Firesword and Colosseum is they require more moving around. Down here into the A tier, I would say anything S and A are definitely in contention. Any game mode for all 4 of these. B, it becomes a little questionable, and C and D, probably stay away from it. Down here at the A, we have Priest. I gave it 7s across the board. It is always above average for everything. If you're trying to do a crit build, it does a lot, allowing you to hit those crits against Path of Firesword or Elemental Realm, depending on the level. Guild Boss, everyone can kind of chain these, so everyone always has a priest buff going on. And if you're using this to boost a second class, even if it doesn't care about crit, such as Kagaguri, for example, then you can increase your attack, get that attack boost, which is a huge boost for right side ninja shadow. People are calling it by that. I like to call them by the other names: Perfect Blade and Kagaguri. Then we have Judge. Judge gets an 8 in Path of Fire Sword. They're really good at dealing with the mobs of enemies, as well as just chunking damage on the boss. Judge was never bad. Its main issue is clipping skills, which that's a lot better now, as well as its main issue is PvP, where people are building a lot of block, but in PvE they don't have as much block, so things like EM Chain Strike hit a lot harder, especially after a Coldfire Bird. I gave them a 7 Elemental Realm, 6 in Guild Boss, 6 in Coliseum. Then we have Dragon Knight. Gave it a 6 in Path of Fire Sword, 6 in Elemental Realm, 8 in Guild Boss, 6 in Coliseum. With Guild Boss, it just sits there. You're able to do your full combo and then focus on your other class. For the other 3 game modes, it just takes a long time charging that skill. You're missing out on potential damage. Down here in the B tier, we have Perfect Blade. I gave it a 7 in Path of Fire Sword and Coliseum, and a 6 in Elemental Realm and Guild Boss. Now, this is... I'm going to have to do another one pretty soon, because it just got a massive buff to its sustained damage output with the patch that happened literally 2 days ago. Then we go into Mech, where I gave them a 7 across the board, besides Elemental Realm, where I gave them a 5. So they're able to just do the damage in most of the game modes. Elemental Realm basically got the punch down because of the different types of bosses you can fight. If it's something like a priest that summons a copy of you, then Mech isn't really going to do anything. If it's something like Anathria that kind of just stands there and does AoEs, it's going to do a bunch. Down here at the C tier, we have Gladiator, 5 Path of Fire Sword, 4 Elemental Realm, 6 Guild Boss, 6 Coliseum. It's pretty standard across the board, right? 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 being mid, and it's 21, so slightly above average. Then we have Wind Chaser, 4, 4, 5, 5, 18. But a little bit below, but not anywhere near as below as Berserker down here, 2, 2, 4, 4, 12. Berserker way down here primarily because they get resets, yes, but they only get full resets on player kills, only half resets on PvE kills. If they made it so that Berserkers got full resets on PvE kills, it could actually probably be a B tier and maybe even push towards an A tier. Just by Path of Fire Sword garbage, not going to matter in Guild Boss, not going to matter in boss modes or for Elemental Realm, but for the trash stages, 1, 2, 3, and 4, or 6, 7, 8, or 9, it could do very, very well. Let me know what you guys think down below. Till next time, guys.